Hi everyone, thank you for all the support on my videos. Um, I'm going to tell the story of my dad threatening me with a gun, and which led to me being a homeless single mom living in a shelter. So, unfortunately, this story is pretty cut and dry. It doesn't make sense. I'm not sure if I'm even in the mental space to comprehend what happened still. So it'll probably be a couple months before my brain realizes, oh, yeah, that actually happened. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna go into the backstory leading up to it, because things were escalating between me and my dad since the moment that I moved back in with him after my daughter was born. So things were escalating. Like I said in previous videos, I began recording him eventually. I let him know because he would be bullshitting sometimes. Eventually, after it was quite a few conversations, until the point where I was like, I'm recording you because there was an incident where he was being threatening while I was actually holding my daughter. That's recorded. Let me see if I can find that. Unfortunately, when it comes to that day of the gun incident, I was so caught off guard. I couldn't even take a picture. I didn't even think to take a picture of the gun. And still to this day, it was like no gun I've ever seen in my life. I know for a fact it was modified heavily. And I tried to look up like the different types of guns, and I remember the shape. It was just all black. It was big, but it was still like a handgun. There was like ridges on the top and vents and just all kind of stuff going on like the top. I want to say it was a Glock, but it didn't look like it had the pullback. I don't know. I'm still stunned by this. Oh my gosh, I'm still stunned. And when I tell you, when my family, or my husband's family, his mom and sister was coming over because I had blocked them, and they cared about was seeing our daughter. I was telling him at the time, please don't answer the door. I don't want to speak to them, and they're not allowed to see my daughter right now. Both times, or I think it might have been 3 times, she came over uninvited, unannounced. Each time he opened the door and stood there and had a full-fledged conversation. And one of the times, I know is also recorded, he came back in, and I was just like, what was the purpose of you standing out there? What could you have had to speak to her about? His family never met my family. His mom never met my mom or my dad. So that was their first meeting. And he was standing out there talking to her after what his son did to me. But anyway, that turned into a big argument, a big gaslighting fest. Things were just escalating. The situation with the keys, where he wasn't giving me a house key, and then suddenly the ring camera was broke, and also his phone was broke, so he couldn't see me and my daughter at the front door. He wasn't getting those alerts, and then he wasn't getting phone calls neither, conveniently. So let me see. He lied to, this is the recording app. He lied to my now mother-in-law, calling me a liar, saying he doesn't even want me in the home. And I came back out of nowhere and he doesn't know what's going on. And he said that we're not speaking, so he doesn't know what's going on. What's all these recordings then if we're not speaking? What's all this? We weren't speaking though. The whole time I was there, we wasn't talking. And I told you I was there from late June to late July is when the incident happened. The incident happened on my mom's birthday. That's why I think this man killed my mom. Real talk. Why would you do something like this to your daughter on your late wife's first birthday since she passed away? Y'all, my mom would only be 55 right now. So instead of being able to think about that, or like make some kind of plan to honor her, think about her, nothing. He's over here threatening me and caused me to, what was I gonna do? I'm not being held directly at gunpoint. I'm being held with a gun. What am I gonna do? Just brush that off and go back to sleep in that house? Are you crazy? No. Anyway, ain't I supposed to be looking for a recording? I'm gonna end up posting these because this shit pissing me off. But I would have to look and see what day that was that he threatened. I said something very innocuous and truthful. You know how hit dogs holler. So I was holding my daughter at the end of the counter and he was at the other side of the counter. And then he slammed both his fists down super hard and started yelling. He was like, "Don't ever say that." I said something like, "You don't act loving toward me at all." Everything you've heard me say so far, does that sound like a loving father to you? So hit dogs holler, don't they? Literally hollering in my face, slamming his fist down. Well, I'm holding my daughter. What? So anyway, that was about 2 weeks before the incident. So at this point, don't ever... Actually, there was somebody who commented on my video that I made about the animal abuse that my dad was doing. That comment said something like, "Don't trust him," because that's kind of like showing off your kills, and it's threatening behavior. And then and they said something about a serial killer who would lure their victims into the forest to show them a dead dog hung up on a tree before they killed them. And you know, my dad is just the same way. It just took him a couple years from that incident, because that incident I was like 10, 11, to now I have a whole child and I'm 26, and this is why I'm just like, I'm looking at my siblings sideways. I'm like, Ask too many questions and he'll pull a gun on you in front of your kid too. That's all it takes. Catch him in one too many lies. Question him too hard. Let him find out you got something on him. He pulling a gun on you too, so fuck you. He don't love you. You're delusional. He don't love any of his grandkids. That's why he don't deserve any. And that's why I'm real mad that my mom passed away before she even got one. That ain't right. But the man who destroyed her life got 3 granddaughters. Why? And you know why he keeps getting granddaughters? You know why we keep getting daughters? Because we need to figure out how to treat girls. He needs to figure out, he needs to heal his wounds that he got around women. All of us do, so we can stop protecting male abusers. But anyway, things was escalating so bad. I'm questioning him about situations like the Mother's Day incident. That was the day he was being all threatening, yelling and banging and stuff. Because I kept questioning him. Why didn't you tell me Happy Mother's Day? Did you tell my sister Happy Mother's Day? And he was like, oh, blundering, like, let me go on my text messages. Did I? I don't remember if I, did I? How can you not? All you have to do is go in your text message thread with my sister and then hit the search button and then look up Mother's Day. But he's standing there just for tens of minutes. So eventually I was like, oh, I'm going to just text her, whatever. So I texted her and asked her. And then this is part 1 of my sister starting to piss me off, which led to her getting blocked. She was not really answering the question. And then she started making excuses for him. Like, oh, you know, that was probably a hard day for him because he lost his mom. Then he lost my mom, my mom. And she was just making excuses like, yeah, he did, but like maybe he just like, my brother and sister were trying to like paint this picture that after my mom passed away, my dad just got amnesia, forgot that I was pregnant, even though we was living in the house together. Some kind of denial blackout situation. She came up with a reason that was blaming me too. Then she was like, oh, well, he just didn't know how to talk to you. They both, everybody has this little narrative that he's been putting out there that I'm difficult. I'm a difficult person. I'm hard to talk to. I'm volatile. And nobody knows how to talk to me. Like my 30-something-year-old brother has made this excuse. We don't know how to talk to you because you're just volatile. Or like we never know what to say to you. We don't know what's going to set you off. He even said that my dad walks on eggshells around me. Nice play you done there, bitch ass. Nice play you done. Pinning all your children against this one. The one who you know has seen you fuck up for her entire life. And your entire marriage. I seen everything. Because you're fucking scared that I'm going to out you. That's why you start painting this narrative. You're telling people I'm lying and setting it up. Whatever you've heard about, to my mother-in-law, whatever she's told you about me is just a lie. She just lies. Okay. So, I find out, of course, he told my sister Happy Mother's Day. He didn't forget Mother's Day. He was trying to say that he forgot Mother's Day. I said, really? With all the commercials on TV, you forgot? Okay. You watch the news. They're the main channel who be putting out Mother's Day. Reminders on Mother's Day. The local news, reminders about Mother's Day. Mother's Day's coming up. Here's where you can get your flowers. Da da da. Stop fucking lying, you asshole. So anyway, things are escalating. I'm to the point where I'm sleeping with a knife under my pillow and I'm having nightmares about stabbing him. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When I had that dream, it tripped me out. And I was like, I need to get out of here because I will end up killing this man. The dream was like my mom was still alive in this dream, and it was like a different setting, but there was aspects of the past and aspects of the present. So basically it was something. It was in the house. We were in the house. I had a knife in my hand, or maybe it was scissors. It was some sharp object, a large sharp object. But it wasn't big enough to kill immediately, whatever it was. So, I think like in the dream, I was coming out of my mom's office, which used to be my room, and then my parents' room was right there, like slightly over here. And he was coming out of the darkness, coming at me. And so I just started stabbing him in the face, in the neck. But he wasn't dying, and he kept coming after me down the hallway. And then it was just like, it was one of those dreams where you're running but you're not getting nowhere. I'm stabbing, but he's immortal, like I can't kill him. And then he finally drops to the ground, and then I turned around to run out the house. Then my mom was trying to block me. Now in real life, my mom has blocked me from leaving the house. When I was with my ex-boyfriend and I was starting to go out more. But during this time, she was having some kind of episode. Like she needed her medication upped, and I think she was maybe hallucinating or something. She was extremely paranoid, and she was not acting. To me, she was acting like herself because them drugs made her deambilify that she was on. And after being on Zyprexa myself, like they're sedatives. The antipsychotics, they're sedatives. That's not you. So that was the first time I had seen her act like that. But during that time, she was like paranoid. She was blocking me from leaving. She was up at 1 a.m. My mom was not the type to be up late at night and just saying stuff. But she seemed like real for the first time in my life. Like showing emotions. But anyway, yeah, in the dream, she tried to block me from running down the stairs. I got her out the way and I ran out the front door, and it was my husband's car, but my first best friend ever, who used to live across the street, was in the driver's seat. And my daughter was in her car seat in the back. And I hopped in the passenger seat, and she said something to me like, "Do you really want to do this?" And I was like, "Yeah." We start pulling off, and the police is already coming down the street. So and it was nighttime in the dream. I got out the car, and I remember I was thinking about what's going to happen to my daughter. But I still just surrendered, and then the dream ended. But I don't never have violent dreams. After that, I was like, yeah, I need to stay away from this man because I'm gonna end up in jail next. Both her parents gonna end up in jail. So yeah, I had completely stopped talking to him. This is my mom's birthday. It's July 30th. This was like in the days leading up to her birthday and the incident. I told him, don't talk to my daughter, stay away from my daughter. I don't need your help. Leave me alone. Stay away from us. And so it was agreed. This was probably after I caught him in 1,000 lies about the house keys. So first it was, oh, I need to go get a key made physically at Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever. So that's why I haven't given to you. Then it went to, I have 6 keys and I'm just not giving you one. They're in the drawer downstairs, and he just hadn't given me one, so I was sick of it. So yeah, we haven't been talking for days at that point. So the day of the incident, I woke up. I needed to take Delaney to some kind of, it wasn't a doctor's appointment. It was what I thought it was, but I was wrong. I thought it was a daycare, like infant daycare, because I was trying to go back to work. But it wasn't. It was more like a program where somebody comes to your house and just monitors like your child's educational development. It didn't make sense. And she couldn't even start it until she was like 2. It was for toddlers and up. I don't know how I misunderstood that, but it was at a school where she also has her doctor's appointments at the school. So, walked up there. It's like a 30-minute walk. Walked back. Like I said, July. It was hot as hell. Got in the house and was about to give her a bath. So first I walked past the bathroom all the way back to my room, all the way in the back of the house, at the end of the hallway. And I sat her on the bed. She was chilling. And I grabbed the stuff, her little changing pad, which I just used it earlier, giving her a bath. I use it and sit it down next to the bathtub and then lay her towel on there. So I can just like transfer her straight onto a towel and then like wrap her in the towel and bring her back in the room after her bath. So she was in my room. And I went in the bathroom and the light was like slightly on. Like there was 2 lights. There was like the main light and then there was like the light that's just for like, it doesn't illuminate the back of the bathroom. Like it only illuminates the bathtub area, not the toilet or the sink. So I didn't notice that at first, but it is weird because that light is usually never on. My dad oh my God, how many times has he made a scene about my mom or me leaving lights on in the house? So it was weird, but it didn't hit me immediately. So I went in there and I remember I put the changing pad on the floor and then I flipped the main light on. And then on the bathroom counter, there's just a gun sitting there. Y'all. When I tell you this is how quick I began traumatized. This is how quick. It was a completely normal day. It was about 2 in the afternoon when we got back. I was having a good day. got outside, got outdoors with my daughter. We was both hot. I was ready to, it was just a normal day. Oh yeah, and I came in, I sat her down, and I actually grabbed my laundry before I started putting her stuff in the bathroom. So I passed by the bathroom about 3 or 4 times. I wasn't thinking nothing of it. But you know, he was in the living room, just sitting in his chair. And I know he was just waiting. So, right, I had come in, I sat my daughter down on the bed, doing something, maybe watching something or something. And then I grabbed my basket of dirty clothes because I hadn't done the laundry in a while. There was a lot of clothes. So I took those downstairs. I started the wash. Then I came back upstairs, walked past the bathroom again to grab her change of pants, start getting her ready for her bath. Anyway, so there's just a gun I've never seen. Like I told y'all, the BB gun was not the only weapon that was ever in that house. I just remember this one main occasion. It probably happened multiple other times, but I know he had a taser but it didn't register to me because I was a little kid. I was a freaking kid. So he would just pull, it was like in a metal case, and he would just like pull it. Like I remember being in the dining room, and he would just like pull the case down. I guess it was on top of the china cabinet at one point. And he would just pull the case down, take the taser out, and start buzzing it to scare me and my mom. What is fucking wrong with you? Like, go get help. Yeah, just good fathers and good husbands. Husbands who love their wives and work tirelessly for their families. Yeah, they definitely pull out their tasers and just buzz them, scaring their kid and wife, for sure. Yeah, that's what they do. Just out of nowhere, just on a regular after fucking noon. That's what they do. So I completely forgot about the freaking taser till just now while I'm thinking about it. That was the only 2 weapons. Well, I forgot about the taser, so I didn't remember that was in the house. The BB gun was the only weapon I knew to be in the house. And so think about this. Obviously, my dad knows what just happened with my then boyfriend. He knows how the gun got snuck into my house and he saw my reaction. He saw me like screaming and all this other stuff. To the photo, at least, I didn't show my dad that was a gun in there. I just showed him the photo. And I was like, what is it? And I was screaming and all this stuff. So he knows, though, that obviously no empathy, right? But any logical person would think, okay, a gun has ruined her life very recently and made her a single mom, and she's probably traumatized. Let's keep that away from her. And then on top of that, my granddaughter is in the house, right? My granddaughter, there's a baby in the house now. Let me lock everything up. But no, like, even if this gun was bought in self-defense of the situation, you leaving it out, you forgetting where you're putting it, that's not safe. That's irresponsible. But I don't think it was left out by accident. So, yeah. This is the moment where I should have just silently grabbed my phone, took a photo, and started recording. But I was so triggered. And I was shocked. Never knew he had a gun my entire life. He said, when I started questioning him, he said he got it recently. But I'm going to get into that conversation that we had, argument, whatever it was. I don't know what that was. But, yeah, I just walked back out. I walked into the living room. I said, what is that? And so, of course, he started playing dumb. He was like, what are you talking about? I was like, that on the bathroom sink. And then he was like, made a fake little confused face. And then he stood up. He stood up and went back to the bathroom to see what I was talking about. What a fucktard. And then he's like, oh. And then at this point, so y'all, it's the bathroom. I wish I had a piece of paper to draw. Hold on. Because I can draw this out for you. I don't think nobody understands nobody who knows about this situation understands what I'm saying here. So, I'm going to draw this out to you. I'm going to draw the hallway. So, and then this, like, the living room. Dining room. This is where Delaney was. My room. Then it's my mom's old office. Then my parents' room. Then there's a closet right here. And then here's the bathroom. Okay. This is the setup we're talking about here. So right now, he's in the bathroom. And I'm like standing like right here. So let me draw these. I'm standing right here, unsuspected, with my arms crossed because I'm fucking angry. So, he comes out of the bathroom holding the gun. He didn't put it up or nothing. He just and then let me show you. This is a master bedroom. So there's a door right here where he can go from the bathroom to his room. So he's standing right here holding the gun. But we was closer than that. This hallway is extremely narrow. I want to say like maybe a little bit like this much over from that door, from here to here, if you can like blow that up like to a real size. This hallway is narrow, so if he's standing right here, there's no way to get past him. There's no way to get past him. And like I said, so my daughter is she's right here behind me. On my bed. So he comes out the bathroom and stands right in the hall, blocking my way. So let me reiterate, I have no exit here. So he's holding the gun like this. And actually, something that I'm thinking about now, if he's facing me like this way, he was holding it like this. But my dad is left-handed, so he was holding it up with his right hand like this. With his hand, his finger, on, not on the trigger in that space, but on top of that curve that covers the trigger. So he's just holding it like this. As we're having a back and forth conversation about a foot away from each other, a foot and a half, not 2 feet, not more than 2 feet away from each other, in this blocked hallway with my daughter behind me in the room. At this point, I ain't scared of nobody. I ain't scared of nothing. I ain't scared of no fucking man in my face trying to threaten me. So I start going off while he's standing there like this. I'm like, I asked so many questions that didn't make no sense. It didn't make no sense. I said, what is that? Where'd you get it from? Why is it sitting out like that? This is where he told me, oh, I was making the bed and I sat it on the counter and I just forgot it was there. I sat it in the bathroom so I could make the bed. Oh, okay. Those two things definitely go together. You have a gun out, a Glock out. Let me see, y'all, because I was just watching Dateline, and they showed a picture of a Glock, and every time I see it, it kind of looks like that. It kind of had that shape, but like the barrel part was longer. The handle was a little bit longer, and then it was just, the top was completely modded out. So, yeah, so I was like, do you have a license for that? Where's your receipt if you got it recently? To the license question, his response was, I was in the military. I don't fucking care if you was in the military 40 years ago. Where the fuck is your gun license? So he thought that was going to be a smart little comeback. No, I'm not going for that. My daughter is behind me. She was like six months at this point. I said, do you have a safe? And I said I had to tell him 3 times, will you put that down while you talking to me? Can you put that down? Can you put that down? So on the 3rd or 4th time I asked him to put that down, he said, where am I supposed to put it? I asked him, does he have a safe? He said, no. So you think you gonna just casually bring a weapon, a gun of this magnitude, just into the house, and then you think you're just gonna have it sitting everywhere? You think you're just gonna have it sitting out everywhere? In a shared space. After my mom passed away, I don't go in that room no more. So that's clearly where he was hiding it. That was the only room in the house I didn't go in anymore after my mom passed away. Every other area was a shared space where me, Delaney, or Max would be. You gotta understand this too. There's a dog in the house too. So don't have a safe. You can't produce a license. You don't have a receipt. So at this point, I'm thinking it's an illegal weapon now that you have in the house for some odd reason. And you're being irresponsible where you're just leaving it in shared spaces.
Okay, so, yeah, obviously, I'm raging. So you think after what I've been through with her dad that you're going to pull this on me and I'm not going to say anything? So, when he's like, where am I supposed to put it? I don't know what happened, but he ended up turning around and went into the living room with the gun and just threw it on the couch in the living room. In the living room. So, now I'm standing, let me add some more to the drawing. So here's another closet. Where is it? Right here. So at this point, I'm standing in front of this closet that's next to the stairs, and he's in the living room, pacing back and forth, but the couch is like right here, and that's where the gun is, and he keeps pacing and getting agitated around this gun that's just sitting on the couch. And I said, you think I'm staying in this house with you and a gun? Are you crazy? I literally said that. Are you crazy? Mm-mm. He was like, acting like I was a problem. And he said, what did he say? He said, you're driving me crazy. He was literally like this, irate. He was like, you're driving me crazy. Mind you, a Glock is on the couch next to him, right? No, you got me fucked up. So now he's talking about, I'll get rid of it, okay? I'll get rid of it. I said, why do you have that? Because I wanted it. Because I wanted it. I said, I ain't got time for all that. My daughter's in the house. I don't have time for your absurd wants. I don't give a fuck about your wants and wishes. My daughter's in the house. And if you weren't so fucked up in the head, you would see how messed up this is. Because that's your granddaughter. You realize that, right? And I'm your daughter. He don't understand that. He don't see none of us as his kids. Well, he's crazy. So, yeah, I was like, you think I'm staying here with you and a gun? You crazy. And then he was like, I'll take it out the house. I'll drop it off at Clarence's. That's my uncle. My dad's brother-in-law. His sister's husband. My aunt and uncle is the only two people who live down there. That house actually used to be their house. Probably like in the 70s or something. So, they live about 10 or 15 minutes down the road. So in my head I'm thinking, why would you give that to my uncle? Unless he helped you get it, so it's not legal, like I said. So I'm guessing my uncle helped him get that. Or gave that to him, lended it to him or something of the sort. So I said, I don't care. And he was getting ready like he was about to leave with it. He went downstairs for a little bit and claimed that he put it in the trunk of the car. I don't give a fuck where you put it. I'm out of here. I'm done. And so eventually I was like, I need to go make a phone call. I need to step out. So probably, I would not advise nobody in a situation like this to say that you're about to make a phone call. But I don't give a fuck. You're not about to sit here and kill me. You're not going to manage to kill me in front of my child. You're not. So, went straight back to my room, got my baby carrier, put the lady in there, and grabbed my phone and my purse. Thankfully, she already had clothes on. My purse was already packed because we had just come back home. So then, yeah. I left out and I started walking down the street. And as I'm leaving, he was like, where are you going? Who are you calling? Don't you want to wait a second before you make a phone call? Why, so you can kill me? I said, no, I don't really want to wait. Are you going to be back? Just worried about my whereabouts too much. I should have called the police. But I was more concerned about where are me and my daughter about to go? Because I'm not staying another second in the house. I'm not going back inside that house. So I walked down the street and I called the domestic violence hotline, who I had been on the phone with multiple times. They was not taking my situation seriously. Like I said, I was convinced that my now husband was going to get out and try to kill me. They wasn't taking that serious. But this right here was too much. And I got on the phone, I told that lady, I've been on the phone with y'all, I've been trying to get help, and now it's done escalated. So, I got the same woman on the phone who dismissed me when I was making phone calls at the hotel before I even got here to my dad's place. So, at this point, I'm ranting. I'm ranting about how weird the circumstances of my mom's death was, how he was treating her before then. I'm ranting about everything that's been happening leading up to right now. And, yeah, I still wish I didn't end up calling the police, but the, people from the shelter that I ended up going to, or it was like women helping women or something, they got on the phone with the police because I wanted escorts. Because when I found out that I was getting a place in the shelter, how was I going to go there with nothing for my daughter? So, I knew I needed at least a couple things out of there. I was like, if you think I'm going back in that house, by my home, you're crazy. I did not feel safe at all. I felt like that day, I don't know if I felt like I was actually going to die that day. I felt like if he saw the police, something was going to pop off and somebody was going to get hurt. So when the police finally got there, it was two women. And I was kind of like, I don't want him to see police. So I want y'all to kind of be a little bit far away, but I need you watching while I go in this house. And like, if I'm not out in like 15 minutes, you need to come in. And so, yeah, I came back in and he was looking out the window because you have an illegal weapon, you had it sitting out, you were threatening your daughter. Yeah, he's looking out the window, he saw the police car. So, you know, that was just a warning, like, try something, the police are right there, they're gonna see a gun, they're gonna hear a gunshot. So, I'm throwing everything I can into my suitcase, not thinking, I'm just grabbing underwear, socks, a couple clothes, mostly my daughter's stuff, grabbing grocery bags, throwing her food in there, just whatever I could think of. And then while I'm leaving, he's acting like nothing just happened, and I'm acting crazy. And this is what I've been going through for my entire life. Somebody literally threatens my life, and my daughter's behind me. I'm blocked in a hallway, in between my daughter and a gun. And then I leave, I come back. This person acts like nothing just happened. To the point where when I was discussing this stuff with my therapist, I was like, it almost makes me feel like he has DID. Like you're switching alters. It's to that point. Because he was talking to me like normal. Asking me, did I need help getting down the stairs with my suitcase and stuff? And Delaney, no, I don't fucking need help. Get the fuck away from me. He was like, are you going to be back? I said, hopefully not. Hopefully never. And then you know what he said next? He said, are you going to give me the key back? The key he had just given me, probably 2 days earlier. That's all he cared about. And the tone of his voice when he was like, you gonna give me the key back? Like that. I said, no, dumbass, my stuff is still in there. Obviously. If you think I'm able to carry my whole room out of here and a baby, and if you think that I'm not gonna come back to get the rest of her food, the rest of her clothes, the rest of her supplies, her documents, my documents, actually I think I did grab, because I keep all my important documents in one folder, so I definitely grabbed that folder. But, yeah, all he was worried about was his key, because he didn't want me in the house. Again, I told you how he was, I guess, ranting to my husband's mom about how he doesn't even want me here. Then how is it that when I was still at the hotel, my brother thought it would be a great idea. He was like, oh, it would be nice. Like, Dad would want to see you and the baby. Like, it would be nice if you would come up. Because my sister, my niece, his wife, girlfriend at the time was pregnant. And the dog, they was all over the house. Because remember, my dad didn't want me to come back to the house because my sister and her daughter were there. So that's why I had to get the hotel in the first place. But, yeah, so I got convinced to go over there. And, you know, everybody was seeing Delaney or whatever. And right before I left, he pulled me aside in the kitchen and was like, I recorded that whole thing. He pulled me aside in the kitchen and was like, it was so great to see you. Like, I hope you decide to come back home because it's lonely around here. I definitely miss you and would love to have the baby here. That's what he said before I was there. And I didn't believe it, but I guess some part of me did because I don't know why. But yeah, so when I was leaving, all he cared about was the key. I said, no, I'm not giving you the key back. So then I left. He had the nerve to come outside, I think. Now, he must have been just standing at the door with the door open, like, just watching me struggle. I guess just for humor's sake. Or to see if that was really police for me. So I get to these police officers, and they ask me, what is going on? And then one of the police officers was kind of like, wait. Is your dad, are you the one who made a police report about your dad being inappropriate with your daughter? I said, hell yeah, that's me. And that's him. So, just so everybody knows, there's a record now. There is a record of incidents with him now. 2 incidents. And so, yeah, that I'm sure, I hope they both had their freaking body cams on. And that incident was recorded in some kind of log. So, yeah, they took me to a hotel down the road, and then I was in contact with Women Helping Women, is who sent me the Uber to the shelter. And, yeah, I didn't know where the Uber was taking me. Didn't know the address. Obviously, I will not be giving that information out or saying anything about the area that I was in. It was extremely out the way. And for good reason. Because it was a domestic violence shelter, like, to the point where I get there, there's a girl in there with 2 black eyes. But you know, I was just happy to be away from him and out of that horrible house that I have been trapped in for 26 years. I did not know how I was going to get out. Struggling to keep a job. And then it was just that everything about living life was made to feel so daunting. I did not know what I was going to do. Then I had a baby attached to my hip, trying to figure out what the fuck I was going to do. So having this place for us is such a blessing. Far away from him. Yeah. Got to the shelter. And they just had, like, a bin for my stuff, and my stuff, both our stuff, barely filled up the fucking bin. But, you know, they had, like, clothes in the basement, baby clothes, women's clothes in the basement, and stuff like that, so. A lot of the clothes I did have were from there, and from, there was a woman who came in a little bit after me, like maybe a week. And she was the one who, she helped me a lot with Delaney. But, yeah, like, she was from New York, in her, like, mid-40s or something, had, like, 5 kids, and, yeah, we were, actually, this outfit I'm wearing, she gave this to me. Like, this is, like, a matching t-shirt and shorts set that was a little bit too small for her, because we're about the same size, so, yeah, she also gave me a lot of clothes that couldn't fit her, she didn't like, and all that stuff. So, yeah, that's what happened. And I 100% think that this was done to, one, kind of like upset me even more on my mom's birthday. I think that was a goal. Another goal was to scare me into leaving finally. Just with nowhere to go. Because he just, I don't know, just hated me, I suppose. Why? Because I was exposing him. My brother was figuring shit out. I was starting to tell people about what he'd done to my mom. I was starting to tell people I'm suspicious that he had something to do with her death. I was starting to catch him in these lies. So, I was starting to get him on recording. So that was his little way of trying to upset me on my mom's birthday, and then trying to get me to leave the house, and then also trying to get me to scare me into submission. Like, he was basically saying, I'll fucking kill you if you keep this up. So, basically saying, I have a gun in the house. It's huge. It's loaded. Because also, it was loaded the entire time he was standing there, like this, with his finger, like, half an inch away from the trigger. It was loaded. Because I said something. I said something, and his response was like, I'm not pointing it at you, it's pointed toward the ceiling. When any normal person would say, it's not even loaded, as a defense. So it was loaded. But that whole time, the whole incident, I didn't cry, I didn't flinch, I didn't back down. My voice didn't quiver not once. Was no crying. Because fuck you, you're not about to scare me. You're not going to scare me with your little fucking toy. I don't have time to be scared. I'm a mom. I'm a mom now. My daughter's behind me. I don't have time to be scared of you no more. I don't fucking care about you. And that's why I feel like all his behavior, like, escalated during the pregnancy. Because that's when men start acting crazy, right? When a woman is pregnant. And you would think it's usually, like, it has to be your partner who's pregnant. Nope. For a man like this, any woman who is vulnerable is a victim. Is going to be made a victim. Yeah, so I spoke to him two times against my will. The first time was when he called me after he found out that I found out about this money. He called me just to make some kind of excuse and tell me that he was going to go to the bank soon, and then he didn't. And that's when my brother tried to blame me. And then the last time was when when me and my brother got there with the U-Haul. There was no talking that needed to be done between the two of us. So I went upstairs, completely ignored his presence, and just got to packing as fast as I fucking could. My dumbass brother kept leaving me in the house with him. Why would you do that? There's a reason why you're here. And it's not to help me, because my room was basically empty. I had been minimalist for about 6 or 7 years by that point, because I was waiting. I didn't want a whole bunch of stuff to have to get rid of or throw together and pack together when it was time for me to leave. And there were several instances over the years where there were situations where I had to just throw together a suitcase and leave. So the room was basically empty to begin with. It took about an hour to get everything out of there, and that was, some of that hour was just simply messing with the tape, messing with the boxes, stuff like that. But, that day, my brother's acting like I'm a burden, like I'm a problem, sighing, huffing and puffing, getting annoyed while I'm doing the U-Haul stuff for the first time. Like, these people are disgusting. And it's a good thing I got out of that house, because that night I probably would have popped him with that gun. eventually he was going to get popped with it. So I'm glad I got out. Because he thought he was doing something. He thought he was intimidating me, letting me know there's a gun to that caliber in the house. No. That would have been your brains blew out, not mine. Because like I said, I already was sleeping with a knife under my pillow. So, yeah, that's how I became homeless. In the shelter. And thank the Lord I was only in the shelter for 28 days. It was... I had one more day left before the day that I left to go to the Airbnb downtown. And yep, while I was packing my stuff up, he started trying to talk to me. Being like, did you leave anything? And then like purposely like taking the bag that I was using for trash out of the room and just doing stuff in front of my brother to try and act like he's senile. And not listening because we obviously said that's the bag for trash. And then, I don't know if he was drinking beer, but he was drinking something and then burping all loud and just like, yeah. I was texting with my husband on the way there, and I remember telling him, like, I was damn near to a panic attack as soon as the neighborhood started looking familiar. You know what I mean? So, being in there listening to his behavior, his steps down the stairs, him belching, and just all this stuff was sending me. Him trying to help was sending me. Like, stay the fuck away from me. So, yeah, I had got everything. I went downstairs in the basement to just do a walkthrough. I made sure I didn't forget nothing. I did leave and forget a couple of things, but they weren't, like, crucial. Like my old iPad, the first iPad that I had put that in one of the drawers in the basement, and then I think I definitely left some food. I wasn't going to go in the kitchen. And then I did get my mom's jewelry box. My brother put the jewelry box in there, in the U-Haul for me. Because, yeah, he already took her wedding ring and used it for his wife for some reason. Oh, right, and this is another reason why I know he did it on purpose, because he did it on my mom's birthday. It was my mom's birthday, but my brother was also getting married that day. My dad already knew that. Because for some reason, my brother wanted to pull my dad's move of getting married on his mom's birthday. Why would you make your marriage anniversary on your mom's birthday? Unless, one, you know you don't really care about your anniversary, so you need another event to remember it on that day. Or you just want to, every year, have your wife feel guilty for wanting to celebrate your anniversary instead of your mom's birthday. I can't tell you how many anniversaries that my mom spent up in Cleveland celebrating her mother-in-law's birthday instead of their anniversary. Okay? So, I would have went off if my husband tried to do some bullshit like that. So I don't know why she went for that, why my brother's wife went for that. Repurposing the ring. Having the ceremony on my mom's birthday. I asked him, why are you doing that on mom's birthday? He was like, because she was the first girl that mom liked. That doesn't mean your wedding anniversary needs to be your mother's birthday. But that's not my business. Anyway. So, what I'm saying is, I feel like in my dad's twisted mind, he's like, she can't call nobody to help her today if I do this, because she won't want to bother her brother because he's getting married today. And then if I do this, and then she does try to call for help, she's going to be ruining their wedding day. And then she's going to look like a dramatic problem, like she's ruining their wedding day on purpose. So that's probably the bigger reason why he did it that day. Because he knew that nobody would be able to help me. Because at this point he knows I'm not speaking to my husband's family. I'm not speaking to my husband anymore. He knows I have nobody. So, yeah. gotten through that, I won't know. The thing is, with the kind of stuff that's been happening, I won't know what traumatized me and what didn't until months from now. Because everything keeps happening one after the other. There's no break. So, yeah, that's how I ended up in the shelter. Never thought my life would go downhill to that point where I'd ever be in a shelter. Oh yeah, and then the last thing my dad said to me that day when I was in the basement looking around, browsed around, didn't have anything, then I was going back up the stairs. He was like, you got it? And I was walking out the door. He was like, you got anything in the garage? I said, no. And then he took me responding to that as bait to be like, you look good, daughter. That's the last thing he said to me. So, and I just walked out. I got in the U-Haul. I was trying not to rage because I was like, you know what, it's not even worth it. This is somebody who thinks your life is a joke. Your child's life is a joke. Do not waste another bit of energy. I hopped in the passenger seat of U-Haul, went straight to my contacts, blocked him, and deleted his contact. So, that's that. And, yeah. My siblings are sickos. Congratulations to them. They're grown as fuck. Still vying for daddy's attention. Hoping that he cares about their children. Okay. So yeah. That's how the misery with my dad ended. And I hope and pray that the next thing I hear about that man is that he's dead and they're planning his memorial. I will not be involved in that. I don't care. If they insist that I go, I might have to stand up there and expose them. So, that is for me not to go. I'm sorry, I will be sad because with him dying will be the death of the fantasy that I could ever have a real father. That's going to be my grieving process. So yeah, thank you for watching this video. I suppose trigger warning, potentially because there's violence involved in front of a child, I don't know. But yeah. I will see you guys in my next video.